Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Lantian LT105 Pro. And now this was sent in from Banggood, so thank you for that. And it comes in a really nice small box, and it has all the specifications listed there. Looks like it's a 105mm diagonal, 40 grams, 1mm arms, 1 and 2S version, but this is the 1S version. It has 8.5 by 20mm motors, 60mm props, 600 TVL camera, a 32 channel 25 milliwatt video transmitter and camera combo, and it has a SP-F3 Evo, probably mini flight controller brushed, and all the radio protocols: Futaba, FreeSky, DSM2, WFly, never heard of that, FlySky, and Radio Link. So hopefully they have your brand there. So let's get this guy open here. It's a really tight box. There we go. Kind of feels like an Apple product almost. So here we have a little frequency chart, but everything else is in Chinese, so that's not going to help much. Got some spare props, one set of spare props, and a couple rubber bands to hold the batteries on. We've got a little charger, and this is a Penta charger. It looks like it's got 5 separate outputs. There's 3 in there, all the micro LoSi connector, and here's 2. And it looks like it just charges with this USB, so you just plug that in. So that's nice. You can charge up to 5 at once with this. Get a little tiny screwdriver there. And here's the quad. And it looks like you do get 2 batteries, so that's actually really nice. And everything just fits in this little box, so if you wanted to, put it all back in and carry it with you in a backpack or something, that'd probably work really well. So the batteries are Lantian branded, and they are 500 milliamp hour 1S 25C according to them. So that's probably a good size, because 500 milliamp will probably give you pretty good flight time, but not be overly heavy, especially since it's only 1S. So here on the quad, you can see the main body is actually carbon, and they just have these little stickers over the edge, and it is 1mm carbon. We have our 8.5mm motors and these little guards, and seems like they're very well solid in there, and I like how everything is red. Got this very low profile body, the camera sticking out the front. That's actually really cool. This might actually be a good quad. You can see we just got 4 little screws, hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4 there, holding on the canopy. I'm not sure if these stickers come off or what. It looks like they do, but they're holding the wires in. So I guess I'll leave them on, and they are marked M1, M2, M3, M4 for the motors, so that'll be helpful when setting it up if you don't know the order. And we also have a little micro USB out the back to plug in to program the flight controller, so you don't need to take the canopy off every time, as well as a little slot cut out for the battery cable. So that's actually really nice. This seems really thoughtful so far. And there is little rubber bands underneath here. So if we just put the battery on, just like that, it holds it pretty well actually. Might put a little piece of foam or something to get a better friction fit there. But if we plug it in, let's see if there's any lights. Okay, plugged in, and looks like there's just some lights on the flight controller. You can't really see it in there. So no external lights, so definitely not a line of sight flyer at night. So let's take this canopy off and take a peek inside. Alright, there's the 4 screws, and this should just pop off. Yep, there we go. So you can see everything is super compact down on the inside here. So we got our camera VTX combo. Does not look like we can get any angle off of that, so it's just going to be straight ahead, but for a little indoor micro you don't really need any angle there. And then the antenna for the VTX is just laid down along the back there, so we're probably not going to get the best range unless we drill a hole and just stick that up out of the canopy, but it keeps it really low profile, so we'll test it like that, see how it goes. Looks like here we have our flight controller on the very bottom. It's just stuck down. It's not really even level though on that pad. All our motors are just soldered up onto that, with the then little receiver stuck on top. Looks like they're using just a regular piece of silicon wire here for the receiver antenna, which is pretty interesting there. So yeah, everything looks pretty decent there. I'm not going to be going over the setup for this guy because it's pretty much the same setup as I did in my CX117 video. So I'll get this going, I'll fly it a bunch of times line of sight in FPV, and then I'll come back and do one for you, and I'll tell you what I think of it. Alright, here we are with the LT105 for the indoors flight. You can see I've got the canopy removed just to save a little bit of extra weight there. Got a fully charged stock battery, so let's just take off in angle mode here. And you can probably hear it's very loud, and it wasn't, definitely these props are really beat up, but they are the last set I have because I've actually broken the full spare set, so definitely buy some spare props. So these are full throttle punches on this guy. So, you know, not too bad for a brushed micro there. And obviously, since this is configurable with Betaflight and your own radio, you can set the rates up to whatever you want, so good there. But it definitely does have a lot of power. So you can do high angle funnels really easily. Plenty of power for that. And I'm sure if you took this guy outside, this thing would definitely be really good outside because it's a little bit too big and too fast for indoors. Alright, let's flip it to acro mode, so now there's no self-leveling. Slide around a little bit. Do some flips. Did tune this guy a little bit. And these are fully manual flips. Just a throttle punch before and it can handle them pretty easily. See, flips really well. Not when you do that. But keeps on going. I found this guy to be very durable. That 1mm carbon frame, super resilient. The only thing I've broken is props, and I've definitely had some crashes. I should have broken more than that. The yaw response is actually pretty good. It's got good yaw authority for a brushed micro compared to some other quads. I did raise the P gain in Betaflight a little bit, but it definitely doesn't spin out too much. It's got some decent stopping and starting authority. Ouch. Pretty durable. Alright, that was good enough, so let's land it here. So there we go, that was the indoor flight, so now let's do some FPV and then we'll finish up the review.
Alright, here we are with the DVR recording, and this was recorded with the HM DVR, and if you notice the picture is actually very blurry here. That is not just through the DVR. I noticed that instantly through the goggles. I guess the lens is just out of focus because there wasn't any smudge on it. I made sure of that. So we're just flying around here, getting a feel for it. Go into this room here to test the low light handling, and it was actually pretty good. It didn't go to black and white mode, but I felt it brought out what light there was to a very usable level. Little crash there, but gets right back up. There's the cat, as always, going to torture. Alright, let's take it upstairs and see if we get good range here. Video so far, I mean the video, if you look at it, there's no breakup at all. I think the range is amazing on this guy. Here's the printer going at it, printing a camera case, camera mount there. There's the filming setup. Go right downstairs. Yeah, the video on this, even with the antenna sticking straight down, the whip there, it's just, video on this thing is great. I definitely think outdoor in a small park would be really fun to fly this guy around.
Alright, so let's finish up on this little Lantian LT105 Pro here. So overall, I definitely do like this quad. For 8.5mm brushed motors for a brushed micro quad, it does have a decent bit of power. However, I found that without a prop guard and just a larger size, and say something like a tiny whoop, it's quite a bit bigger when you compare it to that, it doesn't bode that well for indoor flying, because once you pick up speed, then it becomes, especially in a smaller space. But if you had something like an indoor gym or something like that, or even outside in a small park with little wind, I think this thing could be very, very good. And I would test it outside, except we have a foot of snow, 2 feet of snow outside right now, and it's still coming down, so I can't obviously do that. Whenever I flew it, I took the canopy off. You can see I kept the screws out, because this does add quite a significant amount of weight. If we weigh this here, this plus the screws total up, this is 2.9 grams, so with all the screws, probably about 3 grams, which on something that itself only weighs 50 grams with the battery. So with that adding to 53 grams, that's a decent amount of weight on the little brushed micro, so I just kept that off. But this is a very hard, sort of thick plastic, and I imagine running this on there, this thing would keep the internals pretty much untouchable. I don't think you'd ever break anything inside, because this thing's really sturdy. The only thing I broke in all of my crashes were some of the props. I broke an entire set of props, so these are all the spares I'm running now. Didn't have any problems with them releasing from the shaft and coming off mid-flight, so that's good. And the motors, if you actually look, they have this little peg down there, so that pushes up underneath the middle of the cap and doesn't push on the wires, which is definitely good. For the batteries, they took about an hour to charge. I do like this little charger, 5 individual parallel chargers there into one. It took about an hour to charge together, so it's not too bad there. And I was getting about 5 minutes of flight time, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how you're flying, obviously. And the receiver, just obviously it can bind to your Tyrannus or FreeSky or whatever protocol you have. They just have this little wire here, little silicone piece of wire, and the reason they can get away with this is because there's no shielded part. It's the antenna as soon as it comes out. But when I had it laying down like that, I was finding that I was having some dropouts, but as soon as I just put it up just a little bit like that, I had no problems with range at all. And the video antenna also is laying down, but I didn't have any issues there. But you could also just, stick it up like that and then get better video there, or just drill holes through the canopy if you wish to do that. Probably one of the weakest parts of this I felt was the camera. It just, if you noticed in the video, hopefully I showed there, it kind of almost like it was focused too close in, leaving the stuff that you're flying towards like 10 feet away, like a wall. It was kind of blurry, and I tried to turn the lens, but they've got it glued pretty well there, so that didn't work. The flight controller, I tuned it a little bit. I'll flash my configuration here as long as my PIDs. I just did one line of sight flight to just quickly tune up the PIDs just a little bit. There's only so much you can do with a brush micro, but this does come with a Clean Flight 1.13 on it, which is pretty old. Clean Flight's not even really a thing anymore. They forked it into Clean Flight 2 now, so I definitely recommend flashing this to Beta Flight 3.1.6, and the default values, even there, will give you a much better flying experience. So overall, I do like this quad, and I definitely do recommend it. There will be a link down below to Banggood, who sent this into review. It's very durable. The only thing I broke once again was the props, so make sure you're stocking up on props. These are, I believe, they're 60mm props, and the camera was a little bit disappointing, but maybe outdoors with more natural light, with a lot more light, it would do better. But overall, not too bad, and definitely, I think, very good entry into acro, and just a nice little brush micro quad. So that was the end of the video. Please subscribe if you weren't already. Once again, there will be a link down below to Banggood if you want to check it out and purchase one. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.